Boy, what a gorgeous day. Another incredible day. You go to weather.com or wherever you get your weather. I just don't see a bad day on the horizon. 10-day forecast. Like today through next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. The next 7 to 10 days. It is New Orleans Street. I don't see any rain. I don't even see like a cloud over the sun. It's just bright sunshine every single day for the next 10 days. And by mid next week, like Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we will wake up to temperatures in the 50s, overnight lows in the 50s. And outside of maybe this weekend where we might hit 80 with low humidity, next week, like Wednesday, the high is 69 next Wednesday. Waking up to around 52 degrees and the high is 69. We got a lot of low to mid 70s next week, including starting off in the 50s Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This weekend, next weekend, looks fantastic. The rest of this week, all of next week, looks fantastic. Lots of 60s and 70s over the next 10 days. No rain, lots of sunshine, just incredible October weather in New Orleans. Yeah, our non-summer season has officially begun, and we're not going to see 90s until April, probably until late April. But we are set right now, some of the best weather anywhere. Get outside and enjoy it. Drop the coals. Light up the gas. Boil some seafood. Fry some seafood. Throw down a steak or some ribs or chicken or pork or seafood or something on the grill. Get outside and enjoy that outdoor space. Absolutely fantastic weather in Metro New Orleans. Right now, it's like 84 degrees. But the humidity is pretty low, like 45% humidity. So I know it's hard to make an 84 feel lower than 84, but it feels lower than 84 degrees. Feels like mid 70s out there. And it's only going to get nicer as the sun sets. So get outside and enjoy it. Absolutely fantastic weather. One of the big reasons we live down here. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by legendary Young's Dry Cleaning. They've only been at it since 1940. 84 years of excellence. They truly are a New Orleans institution. No one does it better. If you're tired of your dry cleaner, experience the best. I've been talking about Young's Dry Cleaning on this program, on radio, on TV for 25 years. I was saying the other day, I don't know if there's another talk radio host literally in America, local, national, syndicated, whatever, that has been talking about a certain client or advertiser for 25 years. I think it's pretty incredible. It just shows a few things, just how dedicated I am to Young's Dry Cleaning, how dedicated Young's Dry Cleaning is to me and this Neutral Ground program, and how dedicated you New Orleanians are to Young's. Now, if you're tired of your dry cleaner and you want to experience the best, if you're looking for a dry cleaner and you like that problem solved right away, first time out, make it Young's Dry Cleaning. They got you covered old school, walk-up locations with personal service. They got you covered with today's preferred method of dry cleaning, free pickup and delivery, home or office, East Bank or West Bank. And they've got the future of dry cleaning that no other dry cleaner has, Young's Express. That's their manless locker locations. Those Young's lockers are located all over the metro area. Call up Young's right now, 288-8381. Get on the free pickup and delivery list or find out where a Young's Express manless locker location's located. 288-8381 or do it online, youngsdrycleaning.com. 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Young's Dry Cleaning. Post-Hurricane Milton. All I can say is thank goodness Milton hit south of Tampa Bay. hit south of Tampa Bay. You have that counterclockwise motion in the northern western hemisphere. It's kind of crazy, Miss Peaches. I've never been south of the equator, but the water goes clockwise down the drain there. Isn't that kind of kooky? Isn't that weird? No, yeah. The water. If you pour water down a drain, it goes counterclockwise down the drain. If you're south of the equator, it goes clockwise down the drain. I don't know if that might be maybe I might have this wrong. It might be the Coriolis effect. Let's see what that is. Isn't that kind of fascinating? I'm going to have to Google that before I throw out incorrect information. The Coriolis effect. Let's see. In physics, the Coriolis force is an inertial force that acts on objects in motion, a frame of reference that rotates with respect to an inertial frame. Jeez and Pete's, what a crappy definition that is, huh? In the inertial frame reference, the black ball moves in a straight line. Oh, that's just terrible. And what does it do at the equator? GQ wants to know. Goes down straight, GQ. If you're right on the equator, it doesn't go clockwise or counterclockwise. Just kind of goes straight down. What is the Coriolis force in simple terms? Yeah, that's what I'd like. An invisible force that appears to deflect the wind. That's just terrible. The Coriolis force applies to movement on rotating objects. It's determined by the mass of the object. That doesn't tell me about western, the south of the equator and north of the equator. Maybe we should do that instead, Miss Peaches. Which way does water go down a drain south of the equator? Jeez. According to the Coriolis effect, water going down a drain south of the equator would tend to swirl in a counterclockwise direction. Well, then what's it do in the north? Exactly. Which way does water go down a drain north of the equator? According to the Coriolis effect, water going down a drain north of the equator would tend to swirl in a clockwise direction. Wow. All right, so it's the exact opposite, but hurricanes go the other way. I don't know why. So water goes down clockwise for us, and then south of the equator it goes counterclockwise, and then storms for us go counterclockwise north of the equator and the other way. So maybe it's not the Coriolis effect. I don't know. Maybe it is, and I just got to read deeper into it. I knew I learned something at LSU with the Coriolis effect. Anyway, the hurricanes going counterclockwise. It's like when a storm hits Louisiana, it's a little easier because it's more north and south. It's better for us to be on the western side of the storm because water gets pulled south away from the coast. If we're on the eastern side of the storm with the counterclockwise spin, it's pulling water from the Gulf into the city, into the lake, through the Wrigley's and all that. Tampa, you just sort of have to, use north and south instead of east and west. A storm that is north of Tampa is going to spin in a counterclockwise fashion and push water into Tampa Bay. A storm south of Tampa, like Milton, kind of pulled water outside of Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay, folks got their roofs blown off by tornadoes, by wind and rain. We saw the baseball stadium in St. Pete, Tropicana Field, just the roof ripped off. I think it's like a Teflon roof that is semi-transparent to let in some natural light. So no, they dodged a bullet somewhat. But I hope for Tampa's sake, they kind of approach this like, hey, what if Milton would have hit north of the city? Tampa desperately needs like a Great Wall of St. Bernard, like we have a big storm surge protector. And I think for Tampa Bay itself, the Bay, they need like what the Netherlands has, those huge gates that it can open and close that kind of beat back storm surge. Anyway, the Coriolis effect. Google it. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. Lebanon's Cafe is with you, open till 9:30. I love this place. It's fantastic and it's convenient. 7 days a week. They're open every day. They crank it up at 11 a.m. and they go till 9:30 at night. And they serve some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Carrollton at Jeanette by the Streetcar Barn tonight for dinner. Right now, make it Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City. Corey Johnson back at you. Thursday afternoon edition of the program. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open. 766-9480. Miss Peach is at the controls. 766-9480. I had some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Some answers to some of our questions yesterday. Name 3 of 4 Louisiana stadiums that the Saints have played games in. I'm trying to think who it was. Robert in New Orleans. Name 3 of the 4. The Superdome, Old Tulane Stadium, and Tiger Stadium. But it leaves one more stadium out there. So name the one stadium the Saints have played games in Louisiana besides the Superdome, Old Tulane Stadium, and Tiger Stadium, LSU. There's another stadium in Louisiana where LSU has played games in. Besides the Superdome, besides Old Tulane Stadium, and besides Tiger Stadium. Name that other stadium. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations, the city's premier day spa experience. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 50 big bucks can be yours. Hey, no intranet device, no search engines. You either know the answer or you don't. 766-9480. The New Orleans venues where pro basketball has been played. Jeff and Gentili nailed that one yesterday. The Superdome, the New Orleans Arena, the old Loyola Fieldhouse, the Municipal Auditorium, and the UNO Lakefront Arena. Now, the Superdome and the Loyola Fieldhouse and the Municipal Auditorium, that would be the New Orleans Jazz playing in all of those. The New Orleans Pelicans, the New Orleans Buccaneers of the old ABA in the late 60s, they played at Loyola Fieldhouse and I think had a few games maybe at Municipal Auditorium, but Loyola Fieldhouse was their main home. And then the UNO Lakefront Arena was the Atlanta Hawks in the early 80s. They were redoing the then Omni in Atlanta, and they played 10 games. It might have been 12, but I think 10 games at UNO. Larry Bird scored 60. I was there sitting in the right on the court side because, what was your boy's name who put it on the promoter? He wasn't sitting in his seats, and I went down from the upper level and sat in his courtside seats and watched Larry Bird put 60. His highest scoring total ever. Oh, Barry Mendelson. Barry Mendelson was the promoter and wasn't sitting in his seats. Name 5 prime steakhouses in New Orleans. 5 prime steakhouses in New Orleans. Got the answer to any of those questions. We're down to 2. The stadium the Saints have played a game in besides the Superdome, Old Tulane Stadium, and Tiger Stadium. And name 5 prime steakhouses in New Orleans. We might get a few people answering that because I counted about 15 prime steakhouses. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Ferdy joins us on the Best Bank. What up, Ferdy?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good, man. What's on your mind?
I noticed Saints played in Shreveport.
Shreveport?
But I don't know the name of the station.
Ferdy, you are correct. Excellent work.
Yeah, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
They played like a preseason game post-Katrina at Independence Stadium in Shreveport.
Correct. Independence, yeah.
And I want to say, Ferdy, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 66.
All right, you got me by about a decade. You might have remembered like late 60s, early 70s. I think they played a preseason game at Independence Stadium in Shreveport back in the late 60s.
Yes, they did.
So you are correct. You got 50 big bucks at the Woodhouse coming your way. Who's getting that gift card?
My wife.
Awesome,
Gets
30.
everything.
That's perfect, man. All right, you're on the West Bank. I'm guessing the closest Woodhouse would probably be Mid-City, Canal Street at Carrollton.
Sounds good.
Or she could be line to the Metairie location, Transcontinental at West Esplanade. I guess you could UEP long it if you're closer to that and come up Clearview.
She works out there in Lakeside at Lee Michaels, in case you need a Rolex.
Oh, nice. Boy, that's a nice new building, huh?
It is. It's very nice. They just built that.
Yep, they built that thing. It has to be a multi-million-dollar facility. I've not been inside, but I've seen photos. It's plush and lush, like sit on a nice velvety couch while you're waiting for your Rolex to get sized, huh, Ferdy?
Well, you got to go check it out.
No, I do need to check it out. Your wife works there, huh?
She told us.
Oh, that's perfect, man. Yeah, right down the street, Transcontinental at West Esplanade. There's the Metairie / near North Kenner Woodhouse. Awesome, Ferdy.
Thank you.
Do you have a Rolex?
I don't, but she do.
Oh, nice. She is. Yeah, I like the women's Rolexes. I kind of like the women's Rolexes on women almost better than a man's Rolex. The little tiny ones.
Yeah.
The kind of almost like a tennis bracelet. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Good job, Ferdy. Excellent work. I'm glad we're tightening up the wife who works at Lee Michaels at Lakeside.
Of course.
Yep.
After 43 years of marriage, you have to tighten her up, sir.
You better, man. Exactly. 43 years, man. Congratulations, Ferdy. That's incredible.
Thank you so much.
That's an accomplishment, man. I did 10% of that married, about 4.3 years.
Well, that's still good. Yeah.
I guess so.
They're getting divorced. They get married one week and they divorce the next week.
Almost. I was with her for about 10 years, but married for about 4.5 or something like that. So
yeah,
I put in 10% of your work, Ferdy.
Well, that's still good.
Yeah. What the hell? Good. Yeah, I got no regrets. She's a great girl. We get along. I see her every few months. I miss her mother-in-law so much. She was like a second mom. Greek woman, could cook, all kind of great stuff.
Well, I love Greek food.
Me too. Yep.
So we got a lot in common.
Yeah, you're right, Ferdy. And we both don't own a Rolex. Wow.
That's right. I don't like Rolexes, really. I mean, I'm just I like Movado.
There you go.
Movado than a Rolex.
Yeah, I got a Breitling. I got a Breitling that I got from Friend and Company on Maple Street, right where I used to live. Still go to the Maple Street Vet and Dr. Nick over there at the chiropractor on Maple Street. Still kind of my hood. I'm not far from there. I'm in that Carrollton Riverbend, area right by the parish line, kind of Pigeon Town by the Sewage and Water Board.
Born and raised. I know the area very well.
There you go. Ferdy, hang on, all right?
Sure.
I love the name.
Nice talking to you.
Always good talking to you, Ferdy. That's Ferdy on the West Bank. I shouldn't say always. I don't think I've ever spoken to Ferdy before, but first time is a charm, I guess. Ferdy, I like that name. I got a buddy, one of my best friends, and I'm friends with this guy too, but haven't seen him in years. One of my best friends, his buddy is Ferdy. That's a cool name. I wonder if that's sort of a New Orleans name. Anyway, Ferdy on the West Bank picking up 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse. He's right on the money. He's correct. The Saints have played in 4 stadiums in Louisiana, as far as I can count. The Superdome, Old Tulane Stadium, Tiger Stadium, and Independence Stadium in Shreveport. And I'm talking about playing another team. I'm sure they've had a scrimmage at Strawberry Field in Hammond when they held training camp there. I know they had a black and gold scrimmage down in Thibodaux at Nichols State. I remember covering that game because Deuce McAllister was holding out as a drafted rookie. And he reported to Saints camp the contract was worked out. His first practice was the black and gold game in Thibodaux for Deuce McAllister. That had to be, a good 20 years ago. 03, 04, something like that. Deuce, of course, does the color commentary with Mike Koss on the radio for Saints games. Deuce is very humble, very knowledgeable, knows football, just a good all-around guy. Delwamus, I think, is Deuce's first name. Delwamus McAllister, a.k.a. Deuce. It's like Tiger Woods, Eldridge Woods. What's that, Miss Peaches? I'm becoming boring? Wow. The needle dropped into the red, losing listeners and viewers all at the same time with this babble. Huh, wow. Got a new poll for you about New Orleans. I'll fill you in on that in a little while. Channel 4 TV had a great story titled, What Louisiana Law Says About Driving in the Left Lane on Multi-Lane Roads. I talk about that all the time. Left lane for passing people, especially on the interstate. Boy, the taxi drivers that come from the city to the airport, they love that left lane. I don't know what their deal is with the left lane taxi drivers. I got to admit, Miss Peaches, I'm not the best friendly driver when it comes to taxi drivers. They kind of just seem to think they own the road and they're on it all the time. They have this attitude. So I don't mind pulling in front of them or not letting them in and stuff like that, especially the ones in the minivans that are driving on the left lane of the interstate, driving in the left lane. Now, driving in the left lane is illegal. Doesn't matter if you're doing the speed limit, someone's barreling up your rear end, you need to get over. It's for passing only. And we should have a law in Louisiana applying to all urban areas. No 18-wheelers in metropolitan areas in the left lane. No 18-wheelers. Have you ever purchased any other mayonnaise but Blue Plate mayonnaise? Seriously. I'm a native New Orleanian like a lot of you. I've never bought any mayonnaise but Blue Plate. There's never been any mayonnaise in my house, in my refrigerator, in my pantry, but New Orleans' own Blue Plate. They've been doing it since 1827, more than 95 years. It is a New Orleans family tradition. The best mayonnaise anywhere right here in New Orleans. Got to be Blue Plate mayonnaise.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Have you been to the new Tracy's Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Hey, New Orleans, if you wear prescription eyewear or you just need a great pair of sunglasses, especially you folks that wear prescription glasses like me all the time, have to have them. Art and Eyes on Magazine, in between Louisiana and, Washington? On the, I guess, Napoleon, Louisiana, I apologize. In between Louisiana and Napoleon on the river side of Magazine, like a block from Lillette Restaurant. Art and Eyes on Magazine. It's 3708 Magazine. 3700 block of Magazine, Riverside. Art and Eyes. You're going to be blown away. You'll never go back to the mall or some, store that's anywhere USA. Google Luxottica. They own like every brand and they've downgraded every brand. I used to love like Revo and some of those great brand names back in the day. What was it? Revo and what else? Trying to think. Stuff. I mean, Ray-Ban, Revo. I'm trying to think of the one I really liked that was like historic, all made in Italy. Just terrible. All this stuff now is made in China. You'll get glasses, they'll say made in Italy, and they literally ship the parts from China to a Chinese factory in Italy, and that way they can say made in Italy. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, I got you, Miss Peaches. Miss Peaches wants to know where she could go for picking up eyewear. I'm telling you, Miss Peaches, Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes on Magazine. No, they've got the best stuff from Europe, from Japan. It's just incredible. It's well made. It's like a lifetime purchase. And you're not going to be disappointed. What I love about Art and Eyes, honestly, they've got a great staff that cares. And they'll pull out like a tray. And I'm not kidding you. I'll pick about 5, 6, maybe 7, 8 frames that I love. So I'm looking around the store and I pick up about 8 frames. And then I narrow those 8 down to about 4. And I'm putting them on, and folks in there that work there that know eyewear, oh, those look a little too round. No, they're too big for your head. They're too small for your face, whatever. So I'm getting input for those look good, Oh, I like these. And then I narrow it down to about 3, and it gets hard because you're like, boy, I want all 3. And then I get it down to 2, and then finally I get it down to a single pair like these, Jacques-Marie Mage. 450 of these made in the world. This is number 47 of 450. just super high quality acetate lenses, like a lifetime purchase. For you prescription eyewear wearers, you need some prescription glasses, don't go to the mall. Go to Art and Eyes on Magazine. Eyewear that's as unique as you, in between Napoleon and Louisiana. 3700 block of Magazine, Art and Eyes. You won't be disappointed. Boy, I was at the tailor today, and I had to get some shirts taken in, some button-down shirts. And two things. One, I was like, wow, I'm not as Pillsbury Doughboyish as I was before. And then second, I was like, man, that's your physique, Corey? I was like, who is that in the mirror? It's pretty shocking. But that's after about 7 or 8 months of working out at Stacked Gym under the tutelage of Bradley Schneller. He's the head coach. He's the owner, operator, head trainer. It's his system. It's all Bradley Schneller and his great staff. He joins us live on the program. How you doing, Bradley?
Man, I'm doing great, Corey. I'm thinking about how good your frames from Arts and Eyewear must look like when your physique really pops.
You got that right. I've got a 4-pack. I'm trying to get to the 6-pack, 8-pack gimmick.
We'll get you there, man. For real, though, I love that place. I've been getting my glasses there for a long time.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just the best that they have. It's kind of like you. I like ace in the hole type stuff, Bradley. Been in New Orleans like you my entire life. And, you know, as we get older, more experienced, we're kind of funneling down what's the best, what's the best available. And I used to work out at some other gyms, decades ago. Stacked Coaching, the gym you have, Stacked at River Road and Arnold, right off Shrewsbury, right past Oshner, about a block from the River Shack. It is something special, man. Today I was doing box jumps, and a guy in there, Eric, who's older than me and is just a beast for his age, he had the box up at the highest level, like sideways, like probably like 3 feet.
Inches.
Yeah, 30 inches. And I did like 5 of those, and people in there start clapping and hollering, like, encouragement. I'm like, man, this place is great.
That's awesome, Corey. I'm glad to hear that.
No, everybody's on the same page, man. The trainers, everybody that works there, everybody's focused, same goals. A lot of people just, there almost every single day, 5-6 days a week. It's a pretty incredible place. I think it's, from what I can tell, you got the best gym in the city.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, if someone else is interested in losing weight, getting fit, wants to learn about nutrition, how can they get in touch with you? How can they find out more about Stacked Coaching?
Yeah, they go to our website, www.stackcoaching.com. We have free consultations on there, whether it's nutrition or fitness. We do goal settings, finding different pathways to success. And hey, if we're not the right gym for you and I find that out based off of your goals, I'll tell you exactly where to go, because I am friends with a lot of owners. In fact, there's 4 different gyms around New Orleans that have started because of Stacked, and trainers that have left us to start their own gym. So I like to look at myself as a grandfather.
Wow, you've got a coaching tree.
Yeah, almost like Sean Payton, except mine actually works.
So literally, you got folks that worked out at your gym, became trainers at your gym, and now they have their own gym?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, you got to just take that as a compliment, not as competition, or be upset with those folks.
No,
huh?
Look, if a neighborhood can support one snowball stand, it can support 2. Yep. I'm all for people being able to find the best situation for themselves and elevating fitness in New Orleans. I got into this business because I wanted to make other people healthier, fitter, more confident in themselves, and overall feel better.
Every few days, I see you sitting up front at those like tall tables. Today was no different. Had a guy in there. What was that? A consultation? Maybe someone that's going to join the gym?
He did join the gym, but yes, consultation.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. So how does that work? Someone gets in touch with you and they show up and you guys discuss their goals and if it's a good fit?
Yeah, I kind of want to find out their why. It's really important, okay? Because, not only do I want, I want everyone to be a member of our gym, but I only want them to be a member of a gym if we're the right fit for them. We focus on people, how they want to look and feel, and obviously want to get them stronger, but we're not performance gym in terms of competition, that type of stuff. That is not us. So if that's what you're looking for, I can recommend some other gyms for you. But I also want to find out what they're hoping to accomplish and achieve and their timeline, because based off of that, we want to offer them the best service that fits their needs. We don't want to over offer or under offer, just get the right service they need to fit their goals on their own timeline.
Hey, Bradley, I'm sure you're like, oh boy, here comes a text from Corey again, especially like at 9 or 10 at night. I sent you one yesterday, a bunch of photos of some guy, how you beat cancer. I didn't even concern myself with the cancer thing. I just thought it was pretty good advice on being fit. And starting from like the first few, they seem pretty obvious. Number one, prioritizing sleep. Why is that so important?
Well, when you prioritize your sleep, okay, it helps with management of stress. Okay. Your body is able to repair itself. And you have more energy for the next day to burn more calories. It also helps control your hunger levels as well.
Regular exercise.
Yeah. Part of the same stuff, right? Like it helps you be heart healthy, overall metabolically healthy. You feel better because you're releasing endorphins, and it helps with your energy balance, right? Like how many calories you're burning versus how many you're taking in.
And the number 3 thing was reducing stress. I would imagine number 2 helps reduce stress, the exercising.
Well, number 1 and number 2 help reduce stress.
Getting quality sleep.
I'm a huge believer, I teach fitness and nutrition, but I am all into people journaling, figuring out whatever way people can do to help manage their stress.
And the 4th one that we both kind of agreed on, fasting. I just do it by default. I eat at about 8 at night. I don't eat again till about noon or 1. So I'm doing like a 15, 16 hour fast, I guess.
Yeah. Fasting is like one of the most, I hate to say this, misunderstood thing, because there's not a lot out there on it, right? The biggest thing that people talk about fasting as the fat burning secret is it creates autophagy, okay? And autophagy burns fat. Well, the other thing that also creates the same amount of autophagy is calorie restriction, being in a calorie deficit, okay? They both create the same thing, right? So then why would you want to do one over the other? Well, if you're in a calorie deficit, you still want to maximize your protein intake to help fight muscle loss, to help assist with your bone density, all these important things as we go on. Well, if you fast for 12 hours a day, okay, some people do it for 16.
Yep. No.
Then it might be really difficult to get that amount of protein in. The other thing is this: if you work out in the morning and you're doing a strength session, and your strength session is at 9:30, and you haven't eaten anything, chances are you're not going to have enough energy to get the maximum benefit out of your strength session, which could overall affect you down the road. There's other things that say like, hey, if you aren't eating in the morning, you can't control your blood glucose levels, which in turn means that you're going to be hungrier later.
Yep.
But this is a big experiment, right? Like if you just know what fasting does, fasting is a tool to help create calorie restriction by having time restrictions on when you eat. If you know that, and that's what it actually does, there's no magical benefit to it, then you can use it properly in certain situations and know that it's not the end of the world if you eat breakfast. You're still going to lose weight if you're in a calorie restriction, or a calorie deficit. So use it as necessary, and find out what works best for you. Some days it might work. Some days it might not.
That's why I get him on the program each and every week. Bradley, we'll do it again next Thursday. Thank you, brother.
All right, later, brother.
That's Bradley Schneller from Stacked Coaching.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes is a magazine as unique as you.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite team, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Latrim, the global manufacturing giant, is hiring. Latrim and Elmwood, they got like 1,400 employees. They just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. The old Oric plant, they moved to like Tennessee like 20 years ago. It's been some company, I don't even know what it is, Ion. They had like an orange dot over the small case ION right there on, what is that, like Plantation and River Road. Now it says Digicourse. That's part of Latrim. Digicourse, just another company they have, and it's amazing. They just took over another block in Elmwood. Over 100 acres making up the Latrim campus in Elmwood. East Bankers, West Bankers, you looking for a job? Right under the UEP Long Bridge, Latrim has you covered. Hey, North Shore folks, you don't have to come across the causeway every day. Latrim has a facility right off I-12. For a full listing of positions available, and by the way, it's not 2 or 3 job openings, it's dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. Go to latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim is spelled L-A-I TRAM, latrim.com. It is a Thursday afternoon. Boy, I got to give it to Ron DeSantis, man. That's what a leader does. I mean, handled the hurricane like a champ, was there the entire time, and even talked about this dog that some dog owner, a pathetic dog owner, a pathetic human being, apparently pulled over on the side of I-75 before the storm hit yesterday afternoon, walked about 50 yards over to a fence and tied his dog to the fence. when the Florida State Patrol saw him and found him, he was standing in about 1.5 feet of water, right up to his stomach, to his chest. So he would have drowned, tied to the fence eventually. They rescued him. Now it's the previous dog owners. And Ron DeSantis talked about it, said it's ridiculous. And we have very tough, laws when it comes to animal cruelty in the state of Florida. So they're going to fine this person either off the interstate cameras, which Florida tends to have compared to Louisiana, or somebody on social media that saw these idiots pull over and tied the dog to the fence. Get a description of the people, description of the car, maybe ideally a license plate number. But I like seeing that proactiveness by Florida, that they've got strict animal cruelty laws, that the governor during a storm was talking about this. Just incredible. I love it. And hopefully they find this jerk and put him away for a while, put him in jail. Jeff Dorson is with us from the Humane Society of Louisiana. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Corey, thanks for mentioning that. Yes, people can do evil things under stress. Hurricanes and fires and tornadoes. They will leave their pets behind, but make sure they get out safely.
Yep, insane. Don't have a pet. It's called responsible pet ownership. Dogs, cats, they're part of the family. I don't get it.
No. And, what chance did that poor dog have? Thank goodness that trooper was smart enough and thoughtful enough to see it, pull over and rescue it. That's a great story. We had one story, I think it was Ida, or they're all kind of blend in. Somebody put a blind and deaf poodle on the side of the road, elderly, as they were fleeing town. I mean, come on. Really,
Yeah.
That's the best you can do, huh?
Yep. No, pathetic.
So, and then on our end, we're working ever so hard. We've been talking about this pet overpopulation crisis, people abandoning their animals due to all sorts of things. One is laziness. Two is not enough resources. That's true. Not enough shelters. And the higher costs of vet care and food. So they've been abandoning them right and left. We met at the governor's office earlier this week to impress upon the governor's aides and staff that it has to come from the top down. A few emails and phone calls from the governor could really push this thing much quicker than we ever could. And so we're really urging him, the Governor Landry, to take it seriously and help us, and not just think it's just some little tiny under the radar priority. It's affecting hundreds of thousands of people that have no access to services.
How were you received today by the governor's staff?
Lukewarm. Unfortunately, no big breakthroughs, no ahas. We explained to them it's just not animals being starved and abandoned. We pointed out all the calls we get. Kids being chased off the school bus by a pack of dogs. There was a fatality in Bienville of dogs killing an elderly man. No bite cases can be adequately reported because there's no dogs that can be confined for the quarantine period. And animal abusers are going scot-free because there's no place to shelter the animals in place to make an arrest. So it goes on and on. And so we told them it's just not an isolated thing of the animals needing shelter. It's all these people that can't get any assistance to improve their quality of life. Dogs chasing livestock, damaging property. Name it, it's happening. People pass away. There's dogs left in the house. How about drug dealers? They have vicious dogs protecting their narcotics. Who's going to go in and remove the dogs without animal control? So we're trying to explain piece by piece why this whole thing is important, and that we're really urging the governor to take another look at this and not dismiss it as just a little cuddly pet issue that's going to go away.
Boy, great points, Jeff. All the points you made, you really summed it up pretty nicely there. Yep. Louisiana's terrible at this, and we obviously have to do a much better job. The website is humanela.org. You can see what they do on Facebook, Humane Society of Louisiana. They're updating that all the time on Facebook. You go there, you see the photos, you see the little write-up underneath the photo. You'll go to humanela.org and donate. humanela.org.
Yep, last word. another gut punch. We worked very hard. We took 13 dogs that were being criminally abused, Washington Parish, last October, and we just lost 3,000 or 4,000 because the sheriff's office failed to tell the DA that they were needing vet care, our name and report, and the pictures. We're out $3,000. Please donate.
HumaneLA.org is how you do it. Jeff, we'll see you next Thursday.
Perfect, brother.
Doing the great work, going to the governor, going to Baton Rouge, rescuing dogs. The only way they can survive is you donating. HumaneLA.org. 5 o'clock powwow coming up next. Don't move. Got a great guest.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply. Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family-owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday. Speaking of, a week from tonight, the Saints will be playing on Thursday Night Football against none other than Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos in the Dome. Back-to-back games in the Dome. That guy playing quarterback. It'll be Spencer Rattler, the true rookie, starting Sunday against Tampa Bay in the Dome. And if he has a good performance, I'm sure he'll start again on Thursday night against Denver. Yeah, 2 games in 5 nights. This Sunday in the Dome, Tampa. A week from tonight, Denver in the Dome. Spencer Rattler. Hey, you want to know where you check out the action if you're not in the Superdome? You want a Superdome-like atmosphere? The place is Tracy's. 5 o'clock power hour this afternoon on a Thursday, brought to you by Tracy's. Legendary Tracy's on Magazine. They've moved down the block from a really nice spot to an even better one. Bigger and better than ever. 2 stories, plus a huge balcony overlooking Magazine. Are you kidding me? Magazine Corner Pleasant. Caddy corner from that Bromart. Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana, the Riverside of Magazine. Too many flat screen TVs to count. All your favorite teams, like the Saints, Tulane, LSU, the Pelicans, Major League Baseball playoffs, Premier League soccer, the NBA as a whole cranking up in just a few weeks, including the Pelicans, of course. I think it's October 23rd. Regular season start, game 1 of 82 for the Pelicans. October 23rd against the Bulls. No, it is a sports bar restaurant with a full kitchen featuring one of the best roast beef po' boys in the entire city. It's in a 100-year-old building. Tall ceilings, flat screens everywhere. Too many beers to name. They've got all the stuff you want in a sports bar. Yeah, when it's time to check out your favorite sports teams, hard to find a better spot than the all-new Tracy's. Like I said, bigger and better than ever. You're going to be impressed. It's a great place to check out your favorite teams with fans of your team, plus great food in a great historic spot. Magazine at Pleasant. Check out the Saints this Sunday and Thursday of next week at Tracy's and their new location. 5 o'clock power hour brought to you by Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant. Coming up in a few minutes, Skip Gallagher is going to join us again on the program. He's that University of New Orleans professor that kind of in his spare time, he requests public records because He knows and sees shenanigans going on within New Orleans city government, New Orleans city employees and the like. He's audited NOPD records and has been denied those records. He's essentially going after payroll fraud. NOPD officers like the Morrell brothers who are double dipping. They're on the clock. They're supposedly running a detail. So you can't do both at the same time. And here's the worst part. They're not working in a police uniform for the NOPD like they're supposed to be, that they're getting paid by taxpayers for. They're not working the detail at a certain location, which makes you question the folks that are hiring the detail cops. And they're not showing up, yet they're still paying them. What's the scam there? What's going on there? A business owner hires detail NOPD. The Morrell brothers don't show up for the detail, yet they still get paid. What's the scam there? And then the worst part, they're on the West Bank at that track racing their cars. One of the brothers has been indicted, waiting for the other brother to be indicted. Just pathetic. I mean, these are policemen. And it just, they're supposed to serve us, the public. We have had a violent crime problem in New Orleans. We've been on the route of solving that, thank goodness. It's definitely diminished. It's not as bad as it was. But during that violent crime spree, they're on the clock getting taxpayer money. They're earning detail money, and they're not at the spot where the detail's going on. And they're driving their race car on the West Bank at the track. And here's the kicker. Each of them pulled over $200,000 in salary with the NOPD, the detail money. Over $200,000 a year. What are they, the superintendent of the NOPD? No, just regular cops. Absolutely crazy. $200,000. They're supposed to be upholding the law. They're policemen. You know, when a cop breaks the law, it's worse than a regular citizen. It's worse than a regular citizen. When a criminal attacks or shoots or, goes after a policeman, it's worse than them going after a citizen. I'm not saying a cop's better. I'm just saying, man, some criminal's going to go after a regular person. That's why they're a criminal. But they're so brazen, they're going after a policeman. They're going to shoot a cop. They're really dangerous criminals. No, it works both ways. The criminals going after the cops and the cops being criminals. It's worse than normal. Now, Skip Gallagher exposes all of this in a city where we desperately need this type of stuff exposed. He's going to join us in less than 10 minutes to discuss an NOPD public records request where he's just banging his head up against the wall. Now, he's going to tell you some really interesting stuff. You'll want to stick around for this. No, my God, a civic-minded watchdog that's just a regular citizen going to bat for all of us. You got to respect UNO professor Skip Gallagher. Channel 4 had an article or a news story. I just went to the website and read the article. What Louisiana law says about driving in the left lane on multi-lane roads. People in the left lane, they're just coasting, creating a rolling roadblock. State law says that the left lane on all multi-lane roads is for passing only. On all multi-lane roads, you're either making a left turn, like you could be on Claiborne, and the left lane is for passing only, unless you're taking a left. And that doesn't mean you can drive in the left lane for 6, 8, 10, 12 blocks. Get over like a block or two before you're supposed to make the left. Stay in the middle lane or even the right lane if you're going slower. And on the interstate, it's a no-brainer. I mean, right now, I couldn't make the commute. You folks right now going from Kenner to Laplace, listening to the program. People just driving in the left lane, just belligerent, bad attitude, refuse to pass. You're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, if you get over to the right, we could go somewhere. causes road rage, causes accidents. Heading out to the east, New Orleans East, out to Slidell, the twin span. Folks driving in the left lane, not aggressively passing and getting back over. That's the law. That's what you're supposed to do. The Causeway Bridge, it's unbelievable. Folks will get over in the left lane. It's like, why are you driving in the left lane? Aggressively pass and get back over to the right. Now, here's the kicker. The speed limit is irrelevant. Obviously, someone speeding is speeding. But if you're in the left lane doing the speed limit and someone comes up to you that's speeding, you're supposed to get over to the right and let them pass. That's the law. They might be breaking the law speeding, but you're not a policeman. You're not supposed to, hey, I'm doing the speed limit. No, get over to the right. Get over to the right and let them pass. They could be going to the hospital, could be shot, could be having a baby. It's unbelievable. People either are ignorant to the law or worse, belligerent, like, I'm going to control traffic. You try to pass them, they accelerate. You get back behind them, they slow down. It's unbelievable. Driving in the left lane of any multi-lane road, especially the interstate, is illegal. Pass and get back over. But in Louisiana, people just don't care. No, it's common courtesy. And it's selfish if you keep driving in the left lane. Hey, I've got a new poll in New Orleans and even Jefferson Parish. I'll fill you in on that after Skip Gallagher joins us, UNO professor who's trying to just get some public records requests about payroll fraud within the NOPD. Can you say Jeffrey Vappy? Already indicted. 5 o'clock powwow. I'm drinking my Evermore water. EVAMOR. Go check them out online, evermore.com. EVAMOR. Home delivery, office delivery, or just find out more about maybe the best water on earth. And what's amazing about it, they pull that water out the ground about 40 miles from the Superdome, from the French Quarter. Evermore's bottling facility is literally located directly above the source. And this water, thousands of years in the making, impenetrable rock, tons of it protecting it. Evermore water. Check it out online. EVAMOR, evermore.com. Clearly better water. Skip Gallagher up next. Don't move.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance king. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Gotta love New Orleans, our history, our culture. Leidenheimer French bread's part of that history and culture. They've been baking that French bread since the late 1800s, almost 130 years. And they ship that bread out, baked in New Orleans, and send it to 30 states. 30 states now enjoying that Leidenheimer French bread that we love. The official French bread of New Orleans, huh? Fine dining restaurants giving you that little piping hot mini loaf of Leidenheimer French bread, or the little po' boy stand that you love. If it's a great high-quality po' boy, you know it's on Leidenheimer French bread. The French bread of the city. Leidenheimer French bread, truly good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer Baking Company. Like getting this guy on the program. He's joined us before. He's joining us again. He's a UNO professor. Skip Gallagher joins us. How you doing, Skip?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, Skip, what got you involved in these public records requests and finding out about potential fraud and things of that nature with public officials or those that are dealing with the public? You're a UNO professor. What got you doing this on essentially your spare time, taking up a lot of hours in doing this?
It's correct, but I do teach forensic science at the University of New Orleans, and I think that sort of falls into that area where you're looking at in some cases, criminal activity. So,
the law professor's not practicing law, but you're practicing forensic science.
Yes. Yeah, the law I'm a little shakier on, but there's certainly people I can turn to for help on that.
Well, you know what I mean? The professors aren't practicing that trade. They're just teaching it in most applications.
Yes. Yeah. But, one of the groups I have help from is the Tulane First Amendment Law Clinic. They're the ones that are really helping put this case in front of a judge now.
Now, which case are you talking about specifically?
Well, the NOPD is really sort of shut off my access to public records. And NOPD, their own policy says if you place a request, you should receive the record within 3 days. State law says you should receive it in 5 business days. I now have public records requests that are more than 14 months that I'm waiting for a record.
And what's the NOPD's excuse?
That they really don't have one. In many cases, when I request those records, I'm often given a time, say 3 or 4 days later, a week later, and then it's just ignored. and I can try to remind them, but it's not common at this point that I receive those records.
No, and you think the public entity would want to help you with that. I remember I requested Mayor Cantrell's, this is just an example, public records request for her city credit card for dinner purchases, restaurant purchases. And the reply back was, the mayor doesn't have a city issued credit card. So maybe her assistant does, or maybe she gets reimbursed. But instead of them helping you, like, hey, it's not what you're looking for is her assistant has the card, or she pays for it herself and then each month gets reimbursed. Like, they're not helping you get to what you're looking for. You have to nail it down specifically, at least what I've been dealing with. With you, it's probably a little different. You're nailing it down specifically. They're just denying the request, most likely, right?
It is a combination of what you just said, where you did not phrase it correctly or use the correct words.
Wow.
So they'll deny a request. But you're absolutely right. I've been pretty good at nailing it down. In many cases, I've had NOPD officers sort of point me where to go, so I know where to look. I know what to ask for. But there's some interesting ones. Not too long ago, I requested a document, and the city replied that it didn't exist. And not too long after, a paper bag showed up on my front porch full of a bunch of documents. And in that brown paper bag was a partial version of the document that I had requested.
Wow.
Which proved that the document existed. I was able to give it to the lawyers at Tulane. They showed it to the city, and the city was forced to admit that those documents existed.
What did you find out when you got those documents?
They were very telling. They basically spell out every disciplinary action against an NOPD officer over the year, and a slight blurb on what that infraction was, whether it was something like they forgot to turn on their body camera, or it was something like they were drunk on duty.
Wow.
It would reveal what those were, and it spelled them out to some extent.
Now, there's one instance where and is it this one, where hundreds of offenses, literally, and it led to a promotion and a pay raise?
Yes. And one of those, there is an officer who made it was just over $250,000 last year. And that officer, when you look through their records, has payroll fraud issues. And in one particular case, the officer, they examined 2 years of his payroll records. He had over 333 payroll violations. And the NOPD's response was a 5-day suspension, and they promoted him. That officer is now under at least 4 PIB investigations and has been placed on desk duty because he continued to violate payroll rules and commit payroll fraud.
Are you in a position to name that officer?
I could. I'd prefer to let the system
go down its path.
And deal with him.
No, that's fair enough. So you were looking for audits of NOPD records for payroll fraud, right?
I requested any audits of NOPD's budget. And that would, of course, include pay, since it's a big portion of their budget. And they told me none exists since 2017. And that concerns me a little bit. The budget for the NOPD is quite large. It's a multi-million-dollar budget. And if I'm able to continue to find officers committing payroll fraud, it seems like a good idea to call in maybe an accountant or a firm to examine their records to see what's going on, because clearly this is an endemic problem within the NOPD and has been for years. Now, the NOPD has made some efforts in the last couple of years to attempt to stop the worst of it, but I can still find examples of it, and turned in several over the last few weeks where officers are still not complying with their own rules. And in one case where clearly payroll fraud is occurring.
Wow. Unbelievable. No, the big case, I I think about the Morrell brothers. JP is on the council. The mother was a council person. The dad was a longtime assessor. Two brothers, both NOPD officers. And this just blows me away, Skip. One of them's indicted, one of them's not. Earning north of $200,000 a year each. On the clock as NOPD officers. Also on the clock working a detail at the same time. And the worst part, doing neither on the West Bank racing their car at the racetrack.
Yes, and there is, as you just mentioned, there's an indictment against one of the brothers in this particular case. And it is really disturbing because most NOPD officers are honest. They're doing their job.
Yep.
They work a long week. And it is a really grueling job to respond to a lot of calls that they get. And it's disappointing to these honest officers to see other officers gaming the system and getting handsomely rewarded for gaming the system. It is difficult to explain why we had over 32 officers last year take home more than $200,000.
Wow. 32 officers.
There were 32 officers last year who were compensated over $200,000, and it can be higher. I don't have all the records for officers who work Superdome details or Smoothie King. Those details are paid directly to the officer. They don't go through the Office of Secondary Employment. So the numbers are likely higher.
If an officer didn't sleep and worked a full NOPD shift and then worked a detail all of the remaining hours and physically didn't sleep, could you earn $200,000 in a year?
Yes, it is possible, but it certainly doesn't allow many hours for rest. And one of the problems is that the NOPD has got this 1635 policy, which is just sort of crazy. It says that an officer can work as many as 16 hours and 35 minutes within a 24-hour period, but there are officers that repetitively claim 16 hours and 35 minutes. I just looked at one just a few weeks ago that claimed over 20 instances in a single month of working 16 hours and 35 minutes. Never mind other days where they worked, but claimed like 12 hours or something. Just extraordinary claims. And when you think about something like that, and in that particular case, the officer lives more than 1 hour from New Orleans, that only allows a 7-hour break before you return to a 1635, a 7-hour break, 1 hour travel home, 1 hour travel back. It allows less than 5 hours of sleep. And that's if you actually don't do anything else. It's just an impossible schedule. And let's think about this. If we have an airline pilot or a truck driver or a train conductor doing any of this, they are limited to the number of hours they can work. And police officers carry a gun, they drive a vehicle. Do you really want someone that fatigued?
No, doing such an important job. Skip Gallagher's with us, professor, University of New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you. We're going to knock out a quick break and come right back. More with Skip. This is really intriguing stuff. Don't go anywhere, New Orleans. It's important.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more. And it's all more good things.
Get more. Restaurant in Mid-City.
Game-changing innovation. Look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game, invented modular plastic conveyor belts over years ago. These technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBarre by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
As New Orleans is catching a sunset on Lake Pontchartrain.
You're so wise. You're like a miniature Buddha covered in hair.
Where New Orleans is heard.
He really grows on you, doesn't he?
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
UNO professor Skip Gallagher is with us. Skip, here's a question for you that I don't understand. Maybe you can help me out. The Morrell brothers, for instance, making north of $200,000 a year. They're on the clock working an NOPD shift while simultaneously working a detail, which is physically impossible. And what's worse, they're at the racetrack on the West Bank racing their car. What I want to understand is what kind of business hires an NOPD person to come work a detail. They don't show up, yet that business pays for the detail. What's going on there? That makes me think there's something going on with the private business that hired the detail in the first place. I don't know about you, but I own a private business. I hire an NOPD officer to work a detail. I'm not paying him for not showing up. And the Morrell brothers are getting paid for not showing up to details owned by a private individual. I'm lost on that.
Yes, this has been a problem for some time in New Orleans, where there's really little oversight on the secondary employment on these details. And there's a number of these details in the city where there is just no oversight at all. And that includes places like the fairgrounds. And what officers refer to that as is a sleep detail. In other words, they don't have to go to the detail. They can simply go home. So they sign up for this detail and then they just don't attend and no one checks on them. Why this is done, or why the people paying the bill on this permit this, but there's a number of them. The Downtown Development District is another one, the Fairgrounds, Lakeview, and Mid-City to some extent.
Now, when you say Lakeview and Mid-City, what entities are those?
Those are taxing districts that pay for that, and that money goes to the city. And then the NOPD officers, it's actually clocked under NOPD time, but it comes from the tax dollars collected from Lakeview residents and Mid-City residents.
And the cop's supposed to be patrolling the neighborhood?
They should be, but
Wow.
in many cases, those officers were not present. This is also true of the French Quarter detail. It's also a taxing district. It has a bit more oversight, so they tend to ensure those officers appear. The problem with many of these others is there is little or no oversight, or in one particular case, the officer in charge of oversight was actually committing payroll fraud themselves.
Wow.
So there was no sense of, I'll keep track of this, I'm doing it myself. And this goes back to a systemic issue where when I started looking at this, one of the most corrupt organizations within the NOPD was PIB, which is the Public Integrity Bureau, or New Orleans version of Internal Affairs. And the lawyer that was in charge of this and the ranking NOPD officer both had issues of their own. Now, there was an extensive investigation into Officer Richardson, and she was found to have committed payroll fraud. She was suspended for 120 days, demoted from captain to lieutenant. But this is the person or one of the people who's in charge of investigating other officers. And PIB has made remarkable improvements since that point. Since the leader and the ranking officer have been replaced, there's been an amazing change at PIB, but there's still a couple of corrupt officers working at PIB. They are cleaning house, and PIB has a much better reputation than it did just a few years ago. But there's still work to be done. And one of the notorious problems with the NOPD, and the consent monitors have noticed this, is a lack of oversight, where officers are acting independently or relatively independently. While they may have somebody who is over them in name, that person is providing little oversight to what they're actually doing, which has allowed officers to get away with maybe not attending work or not going to a detail.
We're visiting with Skip Gallagher, UNO professor. Hey, Skip, the taxing districts like Lakeview, Mid-City, French Quarter, that's the city kind of screwing over the citizens. But it seems like there's criminal activity like a private entity. You mentioned the fairgrounds and something else.
Yeah.
That's someone that's kind of knowingly involved in this. The detail isn't taking place, yet they're still paying it and they're not getting police protection. So I can't connect the dots on that. Like, they're in cahoots, but I don't see how it works. I mean, is there NOPD people involved at the fairgrounds that control the detail or something? I'm lost on this.
In that particular case, the person that has some oversight of that, who's essentially writing the checks, is a former NOPD officer. And there seems to be little oversight again. There is no one checking to ensure the officer is there and present. And because of that, what do we see? We see officers who are signing up for that detail, but are not attending that detail. And I think if you talk to any of the residents of the fairgrounds, it's rare for them to see one of these officers at that detail. And it's one of the most notorious sleep details in the city. And that was actually where Captain Richardson was claiming to perform details. If you part of secondary employment written into their procedures is that they should perform random inspections or random spot checks to ensure officers are on site. And I have yet to hear of that ever happening. Secondary employment seems to be collecting money on behalf of these officers. I think they take $5 out of every hour that the officer works. But they're not performing this oversight function, which is part of their duty to ensure this kind of thing doesn't happen. Yeah, I'm at a loss to explain how in some of these cases officers are paid and the groups paying them don't check in, make sure those officers are there. There's been some improvement in Lakeview. It's always been much better in the French Quarter. There's been much more oversight in the French Quarter. But I know both Lakeview and Mid-City, when I started this 3 years ago, it was rare to actually see these officers on patrol. And even now, it can be problematic. So we just saw in the last few months, 3 officers arrested, and one of those was for payroll fraud. Now, I think this is sort of a positive sign. We have a new chief who I think really has a good, strong ethical compass, is really trying to make change and improve the department. And I'm encouraged by these arrests. I think we had one arrested for assault. We had another one arrested for stealing gas. And we had another one arrested for payroll fraud. These issues won't go away until there's legitimate enforcement within the department to stop this behavior. It is pretty difficult to justify officers receiving $250,000 salaries that have very questionable backgrounds. And again, this is very discouraging to the average officer who earns considerably less, is not engaged in some sort of fraud, is doing their job, is trying to do the job to the best of their ability, and they see other officers financially benefiting from this behavior.
There's talk that the consent decree may finally be coming to an end. When I hear all this, I'm like, why would we want it to end?
Yes, I was on they had a Zoom meeting Tuesday about just that. And the consent team was on there. And I voiced a number of questions, including a recent issue, which is why the promotions for majors and captains were, I don't know what to call it, voided, withheld. And it really looks like it is some sort of retaliation for some of the officers that were at the top of the majors list. I don't understand. They've gone through a process of testing and screening, which assembles that list. And then suddenly at the last minute, just those 2 lists are affected. The rest of the department seems to be moving forward with the promotions for sergeant and lieutenant. But the chief has expressed that this was beyond her control.
Wow.
Yes.
Which means maybe the mayor is pulling the strings on this as some type of retaliation?
I would like to know the answer to that. But it's rather difficult to get to. The records I've requested have dried up. It's very, very difficult for me to obtain a record any longer, which is why I've been forced to file suit for them. One of the problems is if you don't ask the questions, if you don't ask the hard questions, you're not going to get an answer.
Nope.
you might as well close your eyes and look the other direction. You need to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
And,
and a lot of folks right now don't seem to care, have other priorities. Skip, hang on. One final break. We'll come back and finish up. Skip Gallagher's with us. Don't move, New Orleans.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disk, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benchmore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benchmore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Hey, Skip, thanks so much for the time this afternoon. Just really compelling stuff. What was the end result of you talking with folks about removing the consent decree with all these concerns that you have? You there, Skip? I'm sorry. Yeah, got you now. What was the end result of all that?
Yes, I provided a number of questions. Hopefully they're rather pointed, and these will be presented apparently to Susie Morgan, the judge that's over the consent judgment. And I hope there's some real thought about removing this consent judgment. I think it's still a bit early, and there is issues. And now, don't get me wrong, I think there's been some big improvements. We've seen some real improvements in the crime lab with the hiring of Dr. Kelly. I think we've seen some real improvements with the hiring of the new chief. I think she's really done some remarkable things that I'm very impressed with. PIB is going through some pretty radical changes itself, which is pretty encouraging. But there is still an internal battle within the NOPD for some of these officers with a broken moral compass to sort of damage the credibility of good officers and sort of climb their way up this chain where maybe they shouldn't be officers. And some of these officers are deeply compromised. They shouldn't be in the NOPD. And the NOPD has just simply got to take a hard look at itself and identify these folks and encourage them to leave.
Yep. Yeah, make them work. They'll leave if you make them work. No, it reminds me of these New Orleans firefighters that are on disability and they're out playing golf or have another job and they're physically fine. I think about the fireman that is on legitimate disability that can't do things like that because he's hurt from his job. And they're pulling the same disability, the one that's lying and the one that's really hurt. No, it's just sinful, immoral, illegal behavior. And that's really difficult to prove. Your stuff's kind of forensics. It's very provable. Poor Ann Kirkpatrick, I would think. What a catch-22 for her. Her job is to be the chief and kind of the B job is to get New Orleans off this consent decree, yet she sees all these political shenanigans, people going over her head and not letting people that legitimately should be promoted, getting promoted, things of that nature. And how can she remove New Orleans or plead the case to remove the NOPD from the consent decree when she sees these shenanigans going on? Because she seems legit. She doesn't seem like, she's an outsider. She's not part of this nonsense.
Yes. And that can work against you because you don't know the historical perspective of where some of these officers are coming from, what their agenda is. And then honest officers they're really spending their time at work.
Yep.
They're not playing a game. They're not trying to sabotage someone else. They're not doing something sketchy. And they see these other officers sort of, in some cases, thriving through bad behavior.
Yep.
Stuff. In some cases, it's just plain old illegal and criminal. And we should see them prosecuted. Again, we have seen some arrests lately, which is very encouraging, but it is still a bit of a tip of the iceberg here. There are more officers, and the good officers often know who they are. They know who they are. One of the officers I talked to who was investigating a case talked to me about how much he was trying to obtain records and how much of a pushback he got. And he finally had to come to me to get those records because through the channels in the NOPD, he was being hindered at every turn. And finally, that officer he's retired from the NOPD. It was just a huge battle for him to try to properly investigate someone because he couldn't obtain the records himself.
No, you're a legitimate officer. You're making 60, 70 grand a year. And there are officers literally making 3 times that amount not working. That's got to be discouraging as hell for the legitimate cops.
Yes. And, I've talked to an officer that in one particular officer was assigned to the same district. And the officer said, who? And that officer was being paid over $200,000, and the officer that was working in that district didn't even know who it was
because he's never seen him.
And then I explained, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I see him on occasion."
Wow.
So, yeah, it's demoralizing for the folks who are trying to do the right thing. But hats off to the chief. She has a remarkably difficult needle to thread. And I think she's doing about as good a job as can be expected with the conditions that she's been placed in.
Skip, the stuff we've been talking about, is there any place where the regular citizen can go and read about this, find out more about this stuff?
It really is difficult. One of the problems is that we don't have many investigative reporters in the city of New Orleans, and they are quite overwhelmed with the work that they do have. And we have really seen the press diminished over the years. And investigative journalism is a really tough area. You really need time to dig at something.
Yep.
And that's pretty tough. A lot of reporters are being pulled from piece to piece. They're on one thing one day, and the next day they're on to something else. And it doesn't permit them the amount of time that they need to really dig into an issue or start something and finish it 3 months later. And that's tough, because we really need the solid investigative journalists in New Orleans, and we just don't have many of them.
No, you're right. Just a handful. And with the, newspaper, physical paper going away, we've lost a lot more. Skip Gallagher, a pleasure, man. Let's do it again soon.
All right. Nice speaking with you today.
Yeah, nice speaking with you. Incredible stuff. Skip Gallagher doing a lot of investigative work himself. No, Ann Kirkpatrick it's got to be pulling her in all different kind of directions. Plus her job's kind of on the line. She could get fired by the mayor at any time. It's at her discretion. Absolutely crazy. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us, New Orleans. We'll be back tomorrow. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The usual suspects: Fletcher Mackel, Michael Heck from Greater New Orleans Inc., Frank Brightson from his restaurant Talking Food. We'll see you mañana, straight up 4:00 on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. What's that, Blue Boy? See you tomorrow? I got you, buddy.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.